Yo, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another video with 365 Trading Academy, an online trading academy that teaches you institutional supply and demand, order flows, order blocks, COD data, how to profile an asset. The banks do it. We do our level best to give retail traders the biggest advantage that they can have in the markets, which is not indicators, which is not mentorship, but actual knowledge, real information of how markets work and move. Right. So we've got Pound Hungarian franc to kind of like slice through today, and I'm on the 12 months chart as usual. If you don't have this asset, get a broker that does. I love using Avatrade, IC Markets, IG Markets, those type of old school, well-regulated brokers that can hook you up. Right, we've got an interesting asset, right? This is obviously, to me anyways, in the long term, a buy profile asset, which does stuff like this, right? And what's interesting is, if you've done my course before, you know that our first type of supply and demand is major turning points. And so you can see every time there was a major turning point, right, what does markets do? They give you a big red candlestick, right? A massive bearish engulfment, which is basically code for massive take profit, right? They push markets up for a while, then they take profits. When they take profits, price tanks, right? But you can see the consistency in creating higher highs. And so for me, for right now, it's an upward chart. It's got this massive retracement, but it's worth the buying pain if you can buy low, right? So you can see bearish engulfing, price went up, right? And then met the supply, retrace, went up. New major turning point, swiped everything down, and now that's what we have here. All right, so we don't really have a good reputation on this chart, where on the 12-month time frame, markets come back to a valid demand, right? Markets seem to just create one at least, or rip one apart and create its own psychological lows and then come back up. And that might prove to be a little bit difficult, at least for long-term analysis, because we want to know where the drop is. But right now, I guess our focus is what the candlestick looks like in 2023, and it's only in May, and we already have a bearish engulfing pattern, and it's most likely here to stay. The question is, how long will the wick be? How long will the drop be? And actually, it's very possible that it turns out it's not a bearish engulfing pattern. Actually, I should tell you guys the truth. You can't ever judge an active candle. I'm sure you've heard me say that before. So we're just gonna, let's first of all, I don't know what, these are probably valid zones that I drew a long time ago. Let's remove them. We don't need them right now. Let's create new ones together. Right, so on the 3 months time frame, which is our presidential chart, I'm going to just resize it. This is what it looks like on the 3 months chart. On the 3 months chart, we do have a valid engulfing pattern on the 3 months chart. We do have a potential eradication of the nearest demand. On the 3 months chart, we now have some type of analytical flow of price that we can get going, that indeed, yes, there was a major turning point. Historically speaking, every time there is one market sell off, right, 1, 2, 3, prices only at 3 major turning points to the upside anyways, and markets have sold all of them off. So there's a high chance that the sell-off might continue. The question then becomes, continue until when? And that's when you start to try and get some type of logic on the chart, right? So I don't mean to waste time, but we might as well try and quickly back test what's going on in this chart together, right? So when price was found a bottom, when markets had found a bottom, some type of valley, markets created an engulfing pattern, blasted with an engulfing pattern, and needed another engulfing pattern, and then took off. This was just CP, a continuation pattern to the upside, and this continuation pattern to the upside here, I'm back testing as quickly as possible with you. This continuation pattern to the upside here was a pure reaction to this valid supply, and this valid supply was a pure reaction to the 12-month supply that we saw earlier on. You see that there? I'm not making it up, right? Bearish engulfing pattern. There's 2 years of downward trading, 2 years of counter trading, 2 whole years right? So let's go back to the 3 months chart. I apologize for my pace if I'm going quick, but I do want to keep the videos reasonably short because according to YouTube analytics, your guys' average concentration span is currently 10 minutes, which is so sad. Not necessarily sad as a content creator, but just sad as a human being. This is literally the whole point of social media. 30-second TikToks, 10-second reels, right? All of you are teaching yourselves a terrible habit of not being able to be someone who can sustain concentration for a long time, and they do that for clicks, likes, and ads. So be very careful. One way to counteract that, not that you asked me, is to read a chapter every day. Keep your eyes focused, learning, retaining information. Read a book, read a chapter every single day, and that way your eyes know that there is added value, a dopamine hormonal charge that comes from completing a task rather than swiping left nonstop. Right, but anyway, trying to keep it short until you guys master this art. Right, and then markets do something interesting, right? After all of this has been created, so they go down, demand, react to the supply, trend sideways for 2 months, and then go up again, creating a new major turning point, and then swipe. Literally just drop the bucket, take profit, take out liquidity, take out any type of bias, just take. Then that hidden demand pushes price back up, and then markets all of a sudden, as if there is some type of market memory, start reacting a little bit to this whole area here, to the buy side, and start buying up. You can see a lot of hunts happen along the way, and this is where markets are. All right, so that's the best I can do. Now, if we go Akini Hashi, we just want to build momentum to see, will this flash drop ever happen again? And if it does, where to? Right, and we don't really have a great history on this specific chart of price coming back to demand areas, peacefully, right? We know price will definitely rally to the upside when it's done. Dropping. We just don't know how it peacefully does that. But I do have a swing high, swing low moment that has been created now. So I'm going to put in a bullish Fibonacci, and you can see that this area of value between 50% and the golden ratio 61.8% is a good place to assume, right, that there'll be that most concentrate buyers area, right? There's no hope for this. Market's already filled it. This is also not that very hopeful, not a bullish engulfing pattern anyways, no real imbalance. And the next one, where candlestick closes, no real imbalance either. So all these are failed PCPs, right? PCPs are potential continuation patterns. The only valid demand is this one, and it looks like it's being chowed, right? Now, this demand might look like it's being chowed, but it might facilitate a fresh touch. So price might do something like this and then this. That's where you want to be normally in trading, and then aim for something like that, right? But we're going to see now if we can facilitate that move given direction from our governing time frame. So the governor already says, oh, you're right, Leroy, but you're too late, right? So if we look at the governing time frame, it's already happened. Fresh touchdown. This is beautiful. Price is fractal. You see on the 3 months chart, I still need to see it. The 3 months chart is showing me like long term. I need to compound up a bit, long term. But on the monthly time frame, it's like, dude, this move has already started to happen. It happened 2 months ago. In March of 2023, markets came back for a fresh touch, right? And now we expect price to continue the downside. And as markets were doing that, just to facilitate a move to the downside, last year, the month of April ended with price creating a new bearish engulfing pattern. And that's what May is opening up to. May is opening up to slightly more sell pressure than buy pressure, right? If I go to the weekly time frame, all right, let's go back to monthly, just to see where price. This is useless. If I draw a zone here, 1, 2, 3, okay, maybe that's useful. Right, so, but markets use that, and then markets are already tapped in there. So that might get removed. It's not really the most confident area of value. And then if I draw the second one, which would look something like this would be a better place to take profit, right? So if you're looking at selling in the governing time frame, I would very much consider double, triple checking the activity in this block that I'm highlighting right now for the next potential take profit areas, even though we know that on the bigger picture, this is a better place to stop. In the weekly time frame, I'm going to be looking for some type of confluence On the weekly time frame, you can see that fresh touch tries to make contact with this bearish engulfing pattern, all right, and then creates a clean imbalance on the weekly time frame, all right, an imbalance big enough or long enough for that to become a weekly supply. And on the weekly time frame, we are at this incredible moment here, daily demand, I guess, so to speak, and markets are bouncing off that area, right? You can see here, this is the area I'm talking about, and markets on this side are bouncing off that area right there. And then the question now, and actually let's just draw it because I don't want to necessarily be guessing. Oh, sorry about that. I just actually knocked out my mic. I hope that didn't ring in anyone's ear, right? So there, right? So markets actually negotiating through that demand, right? Markets are absolutely negotiating through that demand, and we don't know if price is going to eat through it. We actually have no idea, how far it will go, right? So the first touch in this demand area looks like that, then markets broke through. Remember guys, this yellow zone here, don't forget, is this monthly area of value where price is already cooking up as supply, right? So the yellow area is this area there, right? It's this supply that was created with the close of last month, April, okay? And then we can assume that below this weekly demand in this green zone created this green candle in the month of March, right? And then there's a sell-off back into that area. But then we understand that when bearish engulfing patterns are created, we need some demands to facilitate a retest, retouch. But those demands must be very careful because price will bulldoze through them, right? So this is technically speaking a cowboy red zone, because right now for me it feels like price is more leaning towards downside than up buy side, despite the fact that it's a buy profile asset. Right now we've got a lot of pressure to the downside, right? This weekly demand, if we can remove this yellow area, might the devil's advocate, might push price up, but price won't get as far as the area of competition here. And then again, boom, we continue to the downside. At least that's my take on this whole thing, right? That's my take on this whole thing. We just continue to the downside like that. So yeah, I'd be very careful. Not a good time to buy. The other thing that you could do is to just map out your trends and your psychological areas of resistance and try and get as many touches as possible, and you'll realize that price is now on the other side of a trend line. Bullish trend come to an end, clean break here, clean weekly supply that made contact with the governing supply, and then prices just kind of like moving down, right? So yeah, we are in some gangsterville stuff here, man. Once markets give me a clear trend line break, I hardly ever consider zones, there, right? They might provide retracement, but I don't think they will necessarily slow down or stop price, right, to the downside, right? So I'm just going to delete this for now, and then kind of like see my targets, right? So this is where I am on the weekly. And on the weekly, I'm going to draw the supply, right? Supply within a supply within a supply within a supply, because again, I'm leaning more towards selling personally this asset, at least in the short to medium term, right? So I'm going to go to the daily time frame now because yeah, that's what we got cooking. If I'm going to enter price, I would love to enter smartly, right? So fine, let's start off with the supplies here. So this whole area is that zone that made contact with the governing supply, etc. Weekly supply break structure here. Where will price go? Let's draw a bearish Fibonacci. Sorry. Where would price go first? Right, so that would look something like this. Bearish Fibonacci would look something like this. I really hope you guys are paying attention to these videos, man. It's always weird when it's now time to talk about profits and gains and pips a month, 2 to 3 to 4 months later, and you realize one or two people took you seriously. It's not weird, it's just disheartening, but it comes with the territory, I guess, in trading communities. It's something that I need to get used to, because that's a big weakness of mine. I just shut down, man, when I'm like, am I wasting my valuable time? Am I, what's going on? But on the daily supply, that definitely would have to be the true supply, right? I don't know if price will make it all the way up there, but I'm just mapping out that is a golden supply, right? So if you get something like that, that'll be good for a beautiful drop. But there's also, markets breaking out of this compressed area and then markets coming back into it. Daily touches here, another daily supply, and all this is around these PCP areas, right? So, the fact that markets turned at a 0.23% shows that it was a PCP to the downside. And yeah, we can pretend that there's a demand here, and they know there is one, but it just is it really valid? Will this hold? Will this really turn things around? And also, will this actually give us the push, or the push that I wanted, or at least at a 50% level? I'm happy to take another risk here. I'm happy to try and sell here, sell a little bit. Stop loss just above there, small lots, but also have a good clean pending order in this area here on the daily. It's a beautiful nested area, makes corner with the governing supply, weekly supply, etc. So that would be nice, right? So a little bit of room to tell, a little bit of room for price to move. So still too early to tell, but if we get that type of action in price and a supply contacted there, then we really might do very well long term, right? We might get some heavenly drop in price that would look something like this, which would then allow us to get into significant buys, or at least take profit, since this is all within a broken upward trend, right? But that's a clean 1:3. That's what I look for most of the time when I'm trading. Nice, beautiful 1:3, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, check out the next one, because the next one is very similar but a different asset. And if this helped you, then the next one is also going to help you too. I'll see you next time. 365, shake my hand. Peace.